You ever live somewhere so peaceful, so slow that the loudest thing in town is a kid's lemonade stand tipping over in the breeze? That was Brook Hollow, a town so small. Folks left their doors unlocked, and Sunday mornings were reserved for pancakes, porch swings, and pretending the outside world didn't exist. That's where my story starts. Me, my 6-year-old grandson, Noah, and my granddad, old Mr. Dean Harlow, 83 years old, stone-faced, quiet as a sunset, and somehow tougher than the pavement he shuffled on. Grandpa Dean wasn't the type to brag, but whispers floated through our family like old campfire smoke. Something about black ops, Vietnam missions that didn't officially exist. He never talked about it. He just sat there, carving pieces of driftwood into things nobody could name and reading spy novels like They Got the Details Wrong. That Sunday, we were at Briarwood Park. Noah had his toy jet in one hand, a juice pouch in the other, grinning like he owned the world. Dean was on his usual bench pigeons, gathering at his feet. It was the kind of day you'd want to trap in a jar. Golden light, the smell of fresh-cut grass, kids laughing everywhere, until the black SUV rolled up. Now, if you know small towns, you know anything black and shiny that ain't a hearse, draws attention. Out stepped two guys, late 20s, cheap tactical vests with crisp patches, Brook Hollow HOA compliance. No city plates, no IDs, just two men with sunglasses, too dark for an honest day's work. They scanned the playground like hawks, then zeroed in on Noah, swinging high legs, kicking the clouds. The taller one barked, "Swings off limits, violation of Ordinance 21B. I froze. Ordinance, what there was no HOA here. This was a public park, built before the concept of a homeowners association even existed. Before I could even stand, the shorter guy stomped toward the swing set. No warning, no explanation. He shoved the swing mid-arc. Noah flew sideways, a blur of denim and orange plastic. The crunch when he hit the ground will haunt me till the day I die. Parents screamed. A stroller toppled. Somebody dropped their iced coffee. I hit the ground next to Noah. His tiny arm was bleeding. His jet snapped in two. And from the corner of my eye, I saw the impossible. Grandpa Dean standing up, slow, calm, silent. He adjusted his old windbreaker, brushed a crumb off his pants like he was about to order pie, and took one step forward. The compliance officers laughed. The tall one sneered. "Back off, Grandpa, this is HOA business." Grandpa Dean's voice, when it came, was softer than a whisper, but somehow sharper than broken glass. "You're not police," he said. "And you're not HOA," he added, with a look that could freeze a bonfire. The tall one, postured hand twitching near his belt, like he was packing something, which, spoiler alert, he wasn't. And Dean, he just nodded once, like ticking off an invisible box. And then he moved. If you've ever seen a hawk hit a rabbit, you get the picture. In one blink, Dean closed the distance, struck the tall guy square in the chest, and in the same movement, twisted his wrist like wringing out a rag. The guy's feet left the ground, face planted right into the sandbox. The second fake cop barely had time to pull out his phone before Dean swept his legs out from under him like he was made of matchsticks. 6 seconds, two thugs down, and Grandpa Dean didn't even break a sweat. Parents stood frozen mouths, open phones dangling in the air. Dean didn't gloat, didn't even look angry. He walked right back to Noah, who was sitting there trembling in the mulch, and wiped his scraped elbow with a neatly folded handkerchief, the kind you only find at antique shops. "You're all right, kid," Dean said, like he was tying a shoelace, not rescuing a child from a staged mugging. By now, real sirens were wailing in the distance. Dean stood up, turned to the gathering crowd, and said with absolute authority, "Somebody call the real police. And don't touch these two. They're not done lying yet." The officers arrived, full uniform this time, and you could see the moment they realized something was very, very wrong. The badges, the fake guys, carried laminated printouts from an office store. One even had glue still wet on the edges. Turns out these two weren't just random creeps. They were part of a scheme. See, Brook Hollow had been under quiet pressure from a shadowy group of advisors who wanted to privatize the parks, add gates to the community, bring in an HOA to protect property values. But some people, especially older homeowners, resisted, so certain developers figured why wait for approval? Just fake an HOA, fake rules. Intimidate families at parks. Build a case for privatization based on safety concerns. Dean, he didn't just stop two scammers that day. He blew up an entire dirty operation. When the town saw the phone videos, oh yeah, multiple angles, we got the swing, the takedown, the whole shebang, Brook Hollow exploded. Local news, national news. The phrase 6 seconds to justice started trending. Memes flooded Reddit. Grandpa Dean drop-kicking scammers into the sandbox, captioned, "Neighborhood Watch Level 9,000. The mayor, bless her heart, tried to save face by giving Dean a ceremonial key to the city. He politely declined. Told her don't need a key, just need kids to play without getting shoved. The fallout was massive. The town council banned any future HOA formation without a public referendum. They passed new laws, mandatory city-issued IDs for any neighborhood enforcement, mandatory body cams, strict penalties for impersonation. Turns out, the fake HOA crew had hit 6 other towns nearby, stealing cash from elderly residents with bogus fines. Dean never gave a speech, never stood in front of a camera. He just sat back on his usual bench at Briarwood Park, feeding pigeons, watching Noah swing again. And if you looked close enough, real close, you might catch the faintest smile at the corner of his mouth. Because it wasn't about being a hero, it was about making sure the people who trusted the world to be fair kids, parents, old folks, still had someone willing to stand between them and the ones who wore power like a mask. Sometimes the real fight isn't overseas. It's in your backyard, on your playground, at your front door, and sometimes all it takes to win is one old man who remembers what the word defend really means. Hey, if you've ever dealt with a crazy HOA fake officials or just some power-hungry neighbor on a power trip, drop a comment below. I want to hear your wildest stories and your thoughts on how we keep our communities safe without letting fear take over. And don't forget, sometimes the quietest ones are the ones you want. Watching your back. Catch you in the next one.